When I was a little girl, I loved playing games, and one of my favorite games was a classic, hide and seek. I even had a favorite hiding place where no one thought to look for me. Over and over again, I ducked behind the piano. Who could ever imagine that 40 years later, I would still play hide and seek? This time, hiding from people, hiding from the world. Let me tell you, I used to be a teacher, a motivated teacher with a passion for my job. It was my mission not only to teach students, but also to inspire them. I was a preacher rather than a teacher, until burnout slammed me against the canvas. There I was, a woman on sick leave, not working, not knowing what to do. The idea of not doing a job, not being active in the labor market made me feel worthless. I was stuck in the idea that what I did was who I was. My job was my identity. So if I was no longer a teacher, then who or what was I? I was so embarrassed having a burnout that I excluded myself completely from the outside world. I didn't meet up with friends. I disappeared from social media. I didn't even dare to show up at the supermarket during working hours. They know me there. Imagine someone were to ask me whether I was enjoying a day off. I didn't want anyone to know. I feared that people who did know of my sick leave would ask me that one single question. Hey, Carine, how are you? Back at work? What do you do? So I kept hiding, ducking behind my piano when someone rang the doorbell. You see, my piano was still a good hiding place. I kept hiding for 4 years. You hear me well. Throughout these hiding years, I learned some valuable lessons that I'd like to share with you, because I'm not the only one with burnout. On the contrary, research from the University of Leuven shows that 1 out of 6 working people in Flanders either have burnout symptoms or already have a burnout. That's insane. If we thought COVID-19 was a pandemic, what should we call this? That's why I'd like to encourage people who are facing burnout by sharing my personal story and message. And for others, I hope to offer a new perspective on it. I will share with you how did I slow down my recovery. What was the most important lesson I had to learn to overcome burnout? And how did my burnout battle affect both my personal and professional life? First, how did I slow down my recovery? I should have taken rest in the first place, which I didn't. That was already a big mistake. Instead, I kept working very hard on my recovery to bounce back as soon as possible. I had a whole lot of therapy and coaching sessions. I paid a lot of money asking for help. Tell me what to do. My calendar should have been empty, but it was fully filled. I wanted to make the most of the sick leave period. I remember my first coaching program, which was in the Netherlands. The title was something like, "Are you stuck in burnout and don't know what's next?" I registered. The first lesson was about, what do you like? What do you love? What are you passionate about? I don't know. I said, I don't know what makes me happy anymore. I was given the assignment to do fun things, to enjoy things I love. I said, what? You tell me to do what fun things? You must be kidding. I'm on sick leave, not on a holiday. I felt anger and resistance rising, and ever since that moment, I have called my coach Hollandse trut, which is something like Dutch bitch. I did not realize the importance of doing nice things for myself, things that would uplift my state of mind, like taking nature walks that stimulate your senses and clear your mind. That was not exactly how I interpreted it. When I went for a walk, I listened podcasts on how to find peace of mind. It would have been better that I was taken away all access to podcasts, webinars, self-help books. I needed to clear my mind, not stuff it even more. My body was tired. But I continued on adrenaline and willpower. As a result, I got a lot of physical complaints, one after another. But still, I kept going on and on and on, like a hamster on a treadmill. I had a back block, an atlas block, a frozen shoulder. I even ended up twice at the emergency room. When I was at my osteopath's for the umpteenth time, he pointed to a saying hanging in the treatment room. It said, "When the soul is hurt and finds no language, the body speaks." My osteopath got a bit tricky and he said, "Carine, listen to what your body is trying to tell you. Each time your mind is set on returning to work, your body shuts you down. Maybe being a secondary school teacher is no longer your path." I ran out of sick days. I had voice and hearing problems, not convenient in a classroom. So I let go of my tenure, even though I was convinced that my job was not the only cause for my burnout. It never is. I started a career coaching program, but again, I just didn't know. And the more action I took to find out, the deeper I sunk into my burnout. So again, I kept hiding, as if without a job, couldn't I be a valuable person? What was the most important lesson I had to learn to overcome burnout? My partner. He didn't understand my feelings of being ashamed. He said, "Carine, one day you will be working again, but now you have to recharge your batteries. Take your time, make it a sabbatical, and stop hiding from people. To whom are you accountable?" To whom are you accountable? That question had a huge impact on me. I started to realize that I didn't need accountability to the outside world. I needed accountability to myself. I was the only judge. Others don't care. So my turning point to overcome burnout was acceptance, learning to be okay with not knowing for a while. Acceptance is the first step to overcome burnout. It is as it is, and it is okay. There is a quote that says, "Life begins the moment you realize you don't have to prove shit to anyone," and that includes yourself. So in the end, I did. I let go of searching and fighting. Acceptance created space. Space to take some rest after all, but also space in my head to reflect on who am I? What am I passionate about? And mainly, what drives me? It took quite some time to find out because I held on very stubbornly to what my ego said. My ego said, when I have all the answers, then I will find peace. But your soul says, if you find peace within yourself, you will have all the answers. In my search for answers, I was inspired by the book Untamed. The beginning of the book tells you about Tabitha, a cheetah born in a safari park and well trained to be tame. Reading that part made me think of how we human beings are also tamed or trained to meet certain expectations. We are conditioned by our parents, teachers, society. However, they all had their best intentions, of course. The same happened to me. When I was 18, I wanted to take entrance exams for Studio Herman Terling in Antwerp, which used to be some kind of a drama and cabaret academy. But my father said, Carine is talented, she can do a little bit of everything, but to be admitted to this school, you need to excel at something. My father had the best intentions, of course, and at that moment, I thought he was right. So I decided not to take my chances, and I ended up being a secondary school teacher, which is a wonderful job, by the way. On the other hand, I have felt average ever since. I tempered my inner fire. I was tamed, like Tabitha. I thought I wasn't even good enough, and as a teacher, I started to work very hard to add some extra value to myself. I wanted to excel at something. I guess that made me a perfectionist. While reading the book, I somehow felt like Tabitha, a cheetah that wants to live a wild life, as it is meant to. It's its birthright, and it is my birthright. I don't want to keep small or feel average anymore. I want to live life to the fullest. So how did my burnout battle both affect my personal and professional life? So what did it get me? I'll give you a few examples. In stillness, I was able to hear my inner voice again. And what did it tell me? That I was living a lie. I never lied, but I have concealed a lot. And in a way, I still do. There is so much more to reveal for the first time, but that would take me a book to tell it all. Today, I have the courage to show up again. I no longer feel the need to have all the answers first. Instead, I'd like to be surprised by what great opportunities may come my way. Because I learned that when nothing is certain, everything is possible, right? And that is the power of not knowing. Secondly, I also succeeded in reigniting that inner fire, what I was passionate about. Do you want to know how? Do you remember the Dutch pitch? By doing nice things for yourself, things that would uplift your state of mind. I do respect her now. Well, I joined not one, but two choirs, a pop choir and a show choir. Singing, dancing, performing all together have made me feel alive again, filling me with excitement and joy, two feelings that uplift your state of mind and your energy level. So in a way, I managed to set free that young, tamed Tabitha in me. Today, I am a woman who is living an untamed life. I'm a woman who is living her passion, and one way of doing that is being a public speaker on this TEDx stage. One more. You know, I have felt average almost my entire life. But by delving deeply into this burnout process, I no longer feel the need to excel anymore. I have accepted my burnout. I have accepted my anxiety of not knowing and transformed it into trust and curiosity. But I have also accepted myself for who I am, and I feel good enough. Even more so. I turned 50 and I feel better than ever. I call that 50-licious. Why am I sharing my personal and vulnerable story with you? The whole process cost me 4 years and a whole lot of money. But in the end, having the courage to be completely myself feels like a win for life lottery ticket. So my burnout wasn't a curse, rather a blessing in disguise. I'd like to spread this idea to a wider audience, hoping to offer a new perspective on burnout. That's why. Throughout my whole burnout battle, I experienced that the main key to recovery is acceptance. Acceptance is the first step to overcome every struggle in life. Acceptance is what you need before anything else. There is no escape. I can tell by now. So, whenever you end up in a difficult situation one day, don't hide, fight, or keep desperately seeking answers. I hope you will remember the following, and please pay it forward. Tell yourself, tell your children, tell your best friend, it's okay not knowing for a while. So today, dear audience, I don't hide anymore behind my piano. Instead, I put myself to my piano and I play.